In a few videos ago, I actually revealed a little info to you about rumors that some old characters will get buffs on their kits. It's just a rumor, but it seems like the rumor will come true, guys. The characters that got a revamp at the beginning of version 4 were Sparkle and also Black Swan. Yep, you didn't hear it wrong, guys. These two cool characters will get improvements in their kits. Will Sparkle's kit changes make her one of the best supports right now? So without waiting any longer, I'm Hoyostation and we will immediately discuss the improvement of Sparkle version 4.0. Let's do this. Do you have a character or weapon in the game that you really want but you don't have enough stellar jades? Here's a smarter way to recharge your favorite games like Genshin Impact and honkaistarrail. Look no further than Lootbar. Lootbar is the most reliable top-up platform. It saves up to 23% for all orders compared with the official channel, and it provides an 80% off for your first purchase. It's 100% safe as you will only be using your UID. We will buy pack for 3000 stellar jades for $42, which otherwise would have costed $50. Totally saving $7.5. We received the crystals we purchased in the less than 3 minutes. All recharges will be done through the official channel with miHoyo, which allows you to enjoy all top-up offers. Ready to level up your gaming experience? Check the link in the description to get the amazing discount. Okay, now we will discuss her skill first, called Dream Diver. There are not many changes to this skill, mostly just changes to existing words. However, there's one thing that has undergone significant changes. That is duration of the critical damage increase buff given, which was originally only 1 turn, is now 2 turns, which means now the buffs given will last longer. Now we will discuss in her ultimate section, called the Hero with 1000 Faces. In Sparkle's latest ultimate, Sparkle now not only gives 4 additional skill points, but now increases to 6 skill points. In addition, now Sparkle's ultimate has an overflow effect, where if the addition of skill points given exceeds the capacity you have, it will give 1 stack of mask. Interestingly, after the turn of the allies ends and the number of skill points is below the maximum, the mask will automatically be used up to the maximum limit of the skill points. Moreover, it's the same as the previous effect. This ultimate will give the Cypher effect to all allies. But unlike before, the Cypher effect this time will provide an increase in the damage boost effect on Sparkle's talent by 5% per stack for 3 turns. Where in the previous effect, this effect was only valid for 2 turns but gave an increase in damage boost of 10%. Quite interesting, isn't it? Now we will move on to the Sparkle's talent called Red Herring. Just like before, when the Sparkle is on the field, it will increase the maximum number of skill points by 2 points. Well, the difference with the latest version is that if in the old version, each ally uses skill points, then all allies will get an increase in damage given by 6%, with a maximum of 3 stacks. But in the latest version, changed to all enemies will get an increase in damage received by 3% with a maximum of 4 stacks. Indeed, there are some differences in percentages here, but what is certain is, what with this change, Sparkle's talent became easier to be active, even though the number is decreasing. Next, we will discuss the kit changes to the technique section called Unreliable Narrator. When using this technique, it will give an effect called Misdirect for 20 seconds. And while using this technique, you won't be able to be detected by enemies and get an additional 3 skill points, as well as 20 additional energy for Sparkle. Honestly, there aren't many changes to this technique, but the addition of an additional 20 energy at the beginning of the battle allows Sparkle to use her ultimate at the beginning of the turn, especially if you use energy regeneration on your rogue. Okay, now let's discuss her traces. In the trace part, it has also undergone a pretty cool overhaul. For example, in the first trace section called Almanac, in the latest version, each Sparkle using a basic attack will give you an additional 10 energy. In addition, when allies who get the critical damage boost effect derived from Sparkle's skill use skill points, Sparkle will get an additional 1 energy. Well, it's clear that this trace makes it faster and easier for Sparkle to get additional energy, because it's clear that characters who get buffs from Sparkle definitely use skill points, such as Danhang and Archer. For the second trace, which is called Artificial Flower, when an ally uses 3 or more skill points in one action, then the next skill use of Sparkle will not use skill points at all. Well, if I'm being honest, I really like this latest trace. How could it not? Obviously, this trace will continue to be active, because both thedahlia and Archer will continue to use skill points, which means that Sparkle's skill hardly use skill points at all. What do you think, guys? Then for the third trace, which is called Nocturne. The effect of this trace is quite massive. This trace will give all allies an attack increase of 45% without exception, where in the previous effect, to get this amount of attack increase, there should be at least 3 characters with a quantum type in the team, which makes it quite difficult for us to get the buff from this trace to the maximum. In addition, this trace will also give an all-type resistant penetration increase of 10% to characters who get an increase in critical damage boost through Sparkle's skill, making your main DPS can deal much more damage. Now we are going to talk about the EIDOLON section, which also gets some improvements, especially on EIDOLON 1 and EIDOLON 2. For EIDOLON 1, which is called Suspension of Disbelief, previously this EIDOLON would provide an extra turn for the Cypher effect provided through her ultimate. It will also give all allies a 40% attack increase. Well, for the latest version, in addition to the attack increase, now the EIDOLON 1 effect will also give an increase in speed by 15% for Sparkle for 2 turns. Granted, the change to her EIDOLON isn't very significant, only 15% speed, but this buff effect is quite decent enough to make Sparkle have a permanent speed boost, if you can keep her ultimate active every 2 turns. Quite interesting, right? Then for EIDOLON 2, purely fictitious. The effect on EIDOLON 2 gets an overhaul, where the previous effect was that all allies would ignore 8% of the target defense of each stack of her talents. Now the effect turns into a defense reduction of the same value. However, because the maximum number of stacks is now different, there's a difference in numbers, where in the previous effect the total was 24% of enemy ignore defense, while now it's a 32% reduction of enemy defense. Honestly, this 32% defense reduction is quite good, because the value given by EIDOLON 2 is very high, which certainly makes your damage output increase. That said, the changes to her kit didn't get an overall overhaul to be like new, but it's still safe to say that the changes made by Hoyoverse changed the core of her kit, which means that now she'll be even better if paired with thedahlia, Archer, or even other characters in the future who may use multiple skill points at once. But even so, there's one thing that I regret, namely that there's no change in her signature LC, because currently the effect of her signature LC is not as good as Sunday's Light Cone, which gives a much better effect. Okay guys, maybe that's all for now. What do you think about the latest changes from Sparkle? Please type in the comments down below, and don't forget to check out my other videos because they are no less cool. Thanks for watching, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video.